in here soon, but I went to dump and drive through, and one of the office ladies in the housing office, I ordered my coffee, and she gave it to me, she's like, oh, it's free. I was like, are you sure? She goes, yeah, and then she like kind of looked at me like she was trying to flirt with me, and like she's like 16, I was like, oh no. So I drove away as fast as I could, and I got free coffee, but it tasted disgusting, so I had to awkwardly go back and get another one. It was a really awkward story. I looked at the cup, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh my god, please don't have like a number on it or something. I was really scared. But I'm sorry, this is a fun story. Fun story.
I enjoyed the fun story.
Good.
My name is Brian Schuler. I met Matt a couple weeks ago when I came to observe. I'm in the EDD program here, the Educational Doctoral Program here at Murray State. A little bit about my background. I have basically every degree and given all my money to Murray State since 1992. I graduated in 97 with a Bachelor of Science in Political Science, minor in History, got a teaching degree, taught for 6 years at Marshall County High School. In those 6 years, I got a master's in school administration. I left Marshall County and became assistant principal at Heath High School. I was assistant principal for 5 years, and then I was principal for a year and a half. In that year and a half, in the transition from assistant principal to principal, my youngest son, when he was 7 months old, got called rhabdomyosarcoma. It was a cancer of the muscle on his hip bone. He went through 42 weeks of chemotherapy, 20 straight days of radiation, and the pool principal and going back and forth to Vanderbilt, there needed to be a choice made, and I decided to go back to the classroom. So for the last 5.5 years, I have been a middle school teacher at Heath Middle School. So while I don't know all the infrastructures of a higher learning facility such as a university, that is my focus in my doctoral program, and I do know about team building, working together, what happens in different organizations, from being an assistant principal, being a principal, and things of that nature. So what we're going to talk about today is how soft skills can affect the different infrastructures of any organization, whether it be a university, a high school, a middle school, and all that. As I said, I taught social studies, but I switched my focus of what I teach to college and career readiness. One reason I've become so passionate about soft skills, and we'll talk about what those are in just a second, is the lack that I see of our skills, our communication skills, are in middle school students. And it's filtering into, then they become high school students, and they become college students, and then you'll have to work with them in student affairs, because you're talking about a girl and retention and some of that stuff. When I came to college here, you went to class early to see your friends and see what was going on. You went to the library to try to find somebody. It was more of a social spot. If I wanted to study, I went to Pope. If I wanted to see where everybody was at and what was going on, I went to Waterfield. And now, I broke away from all my high school friends and got new friends. Now when I come to the university and go by classes, nobody's talking. Nobody's conversing. They're all on their phone still talking to their friends that they've known for years. And those skills of getting to know other people, branching out, are becoming a lost art. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. But before we start, I want to show you a video that I show this is the first thing I show my college and career kids every year. And those are 8th grade kids that I have. Okay. So what's something that stood out to both of y'all in that presentation, or in that little video?
For me, I heard me say, wow, it was the English in China thing.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it said. It said that would be the #1 spoken language in China.
Right.
I would assume it would be Chinese, but I guess the English is just becoming more Chinese.
Well, and they're teaching both of them, and I mean, that's required language, you know, some places require a foreign language, to get into college. I made it through, I found loopholes and everything else. I graduated high school without a foreign language because Spanish in my small high school was offered the same time as athletic PE, so I was excused from that. And I got here, and at the time I realized if I took a Bachelor of Arts and got a history degree, I had to take a foreign language. If I took a Bachelor of Science and went political science, I could still get my history minor, and I could get certified to teach. I didn't have to take it, you know. So, and I regret that. I wish I would have taken a foreign language. My son's starting high school next year, and he wants to take German. And I'm just like, I don't know what, I mean, but thank goodness my wife is a former Latin champion, and a lot of German comes from Latin, so she can help me with that. I'll step away. What do you think, Matt? Was something from that?
The fact that if someone's getting an IT degree, that the things they learn in first year, I did by the third year. Because
Yeah.
to me, that really irritates me as far as my money spent on a degree.
Yeah, that burned me up if I got halfway through and what I learned is already obsolete. And that's what scares me as a teacher, is how do I prepare people for jobs? The thing that stood out to me when I watched it is, one, in 2004, 6 years later, the top 10 jobs were created in that 6-year window. So that means from 2010 to 2016, those top 10 jobs that we, in 2016, didn't exist when this presentation was made. So how in the world am I supposed to prepare students when we're changing standards every time and we're changing Common Core is great, Common Core is not great. Now I went through and I helped devise social studies standards. Well, guess what? The governor wasn't even going to test social studies in the last round. They were talking about cutting social studies out altogether. Now they put it back in. So all that, we worry so much about standards and we worry so much about core content and all this, having kids. I have kids in middle school now taking geometry in the 8th grade, honors geometry. I didn't take geometry until I was a junior in high school. And so, and we worry so much about this that we lose sight of soft skills. And that's how we can prepare kids for what's coming up. Because no matter what job you have, these skills we're going to talk about today, you'll need. And you'll have to have them. And we're going to do some stuff. I would call it fun, but I don't know if you'll call it fun, so we'll see it there. So what are soft skills? When I say that, what do you think of?
Communication.
Okay, conversation, communication. Is there anything else that could go with that?
I think interpersonal skills in general, it's like listening.
Okay.
Actually listening, not hearing.
Right. So the first thing that we look at, and we're going to get to what y'all listed here in just a second because those are all right, but they're skills that we all have. We all have them. Now, are we proficient, distinguished in all of them? No. Can we work on them? We all have different levels of what our soft skills can be. Can we learn to improve them? Sure we can. And how do we relate them to others? So some of the ones that you said, the very first one, communication. That's verbal and nonverbal. We're going to look at a couple things, and we're going to talk about a couple things with the verbal, but we'll also talk about reading body language and things like that. Attitude. How you go about, and I have to really work on this one. This is, I think, opposites really do attract, because I am a glass is half empty type person. I try to be positive, but Eeyore comes out in me all the time, okay? Especially when it's raining and gloomy like this. My wife has a smile on her face 99.9% of the time. That 1% is when I usually do something stupid, but she's happy, she has the right attitude, and that in turn affects me, even my negative attitude. When she thinks we can do it, we can do it. And that's what I try to portray to students. And when you work in student affairs and you work in an infrastructure of a university like that, that is what will come through. Even if you don't agree with it, and you can voice your opinion. There's nothing wrong with voicing your opinion. But how you voice it, and does that stop you from doing your job? What attitude do you portray? The third one, manners. That's just very simple, okay? There is a student at our school. I don't know how he does it, but he opens every door in that school. He opens the door and holds it open for 200 kids coming out of the cafeteria, and there he's at the other door to open it for them to go in the building. Everybody knows Jesse opens the door, and everybody knows Jesse because of that, because of his manners. It doesn't take him 2 minutes to do that. And we'll talk about other matters when we get there. Teamwork, problem solving. I got a little exercise that was devised by a recon instructor from the 101st Airborne Division.
Yeah.
See, I thought y'all would like that. We're survivors of a plane crash. We have these items. We got to pick which ones. Y'all probably have already done that, but there's a 100 proof whiskey, so Dr. Burke said that's what we picked number one already. So. Relationships, we're going to talk about networking. We're going to talk about 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, because that's fun. I like that. And motivation and leadership. So, soft skills, as we said, you need to be a natural talent. You could be naturally good at it. When I was growing up, I hated to speak in front of people. I worried about what I was going to say, what I was going to do. And when I got in college, it just became comfortable. I taught summer school when I went home for the first time. That felt natural. And then once I started that, it became something that I always wanted to do. But you can be taught. Even though I hated it, even though I didn't want to do it, I was taught to be a pretty good public speaker. I learned through practical experiences. They're influenced by our behaviors, our beliefs, and our attitudes. So, this is what I got when I went to a fun conference. And not fun, it wasn't fun, it was fund with a D. And that is actually Billy Harper of Vanguard Industries out of Paducah ran the board and came up with the money of business leaders to create this organization to help schools get their students college and career. And we have this conference and you go to it, and I talk with CEOs of Lexmark, I talked with business leaders in Louisville, Lexington, and Frankfurt, and this is what they said. They said there are some good soft skills that, and I don't even say your generation, I say the generation below you, the middle schools and high schools that I teach. They can multitask, just like we were talking a while ago. My wife gets mad at me and my son because I can be on my phone and hear everything she says. She can't do that. She has to stop and have a conversation. I can do that. So when I repeat back to her word for word what she said, then she gets even madder. And I know all of you, being men, have experienced that. But kids can, I don't know how he does it. My son can be studying for a test, playing PlayStation, looking up cheats on his phone, and listening to music, and go in and make 100 on the test the next day. They can multitask. I've never seen my little 7-year-old shows me how to work the iPad. Well, you do this, and you move here, and here, and here. And they're used to working on teams because our standards, as we talked about, is all about team building, all about student-led. Let them be the teacher. You're just a facilitator. You sit off to the side, which works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But the problem that they have, and if you disagree with any of these, please tell me why you disagree with that. But the first thing is, these kids want to be rich and famous. One guy even called it the Kardashian syndrome. I can't tell you, I have them research jobs, and they have to pick a job. And I guarantee you that 8 out of 10 boys will pick professional athlete, actor, or YouTube. I mean, I had no idea that YouTube pays these people as much as they do. Some of them have helicopters. You get so many subscribers, you get a helicopter. You get so many. I had no idea until my son started saying he wanted to do that. This is something that Dr. Burke and I were talking about earlier. Achievement oriented. Everybody gets a trophy.
Participation award.
Exactly. And it's like I tell my kids, my students, and I hope you agree with this, we're all going to fail. You're going to lose at some point in your life. And it's okay to lose. Like when I decided to step away from being a principal, some people would say I failed at that. And that's fine. I tried something. I thought I always wanted to be a principal. I tried it. I didn't like it. I went back to what I love, is teaching. Entertainment attitude. This is me. I cannot sit somewhere and not be doing something. Whether it's reading a book, whether it's playing a game on my phone, whether it's watching a video, we have to be entertained. Do you have any idea what the average attention span of a middle school student is now?
10 seconds.
A little longer than that.
30 seconds.
12.
12 minutes? 12 seconds? It's in the minutes.
No. 5 minutes.
Okay, it's close. It's 8 minutes. Do you have any idea why it's 8 minutes?
Is that how long an average video is?
Close to the video. What did we watch? We didn't have all the videos. What did we watch most of the time?
Cartoons?
Cartoons or TV shows. TV shows we have watched so much TV that it's 8 minutes commercial, 8 minutes commercial, 8 minutes commercial. That's why shows are 22 to 24 minutes long and have 6-minute breaks in there for a 30-minute show. So you're constantly trying to come up with, you're teaching a class, you're training kids for the future. Y'all deal with kids. Still, I say kids, they're kids to me, but, you know, because most of them weren't even born when I was here, so that makes me feel good. But you have to come up with something. They're constantly wanting to be entertained. I mean, and that was the fun part to me when I went to school here was we used our imagination and found stuff to do. One of my favorite stories is we were having a Halloween party one night. I was dressed as Batman, my friend was dressed as Robin, and my other friend was dressed as Superman. So we were the super friends. Our other buddy was dressed as Mike Myers from Halloween. So we thought it would be funny to chase him around Murray State's campus. Well, it was Halloween night, and the only people that were in the library, because we kept running back and forth in the library, were the Asian foreign exchange students. Well, they were at the window amazed, and we beat up Mike Myers, and we went in, took pictures with them, gave autographs. I mean, they can't use that imagination like that anymore.
I did that the other day in wellness.
See, there you go.
I have a T-Rex costume, I put it to use.
Good. See, that's what was fun, because I don't even count computers and devices as technology anymore. It's like an extension of us. I saw a great picture the other day that had a man walking a dog on a leash, and next to it was a guy with his phone plugged up to a wall charger sitting on the floor on it. It's like we become hooked, and like somebody said, one of the funniest things I've seen, and I've tried this on my oldest son, and it works, said when they get in trouble, don't take their phone away.
You clicked the screen by accident.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go back. Take the charger away and then watch the horror in their face as their power drains down to 0 and they can't use it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that just for fun, and it works. And it's quite fun. So, there are other complaints. Today's workers show gap in communication, interpersonal skills, problem solving, business knowledge, and project management. And then when I talk to college graduates that were there, that just graduated, they brought them in, the college graduates say, whoa, 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 you can't blame us. Because I'm taking a job, I just want a job. I'm taking a job. I think I heard you last time, maybe talking about an interview in an area that you, maybe housing or something. Okay, and you're like, I don't work in housing, but it's a job. So a lot of people take a job in an area that they're not ready for or know anything about just to have a job. So they're like, you can't blame us for not knowing, they gotta train us. And then they also said, you know, we're not taught teamwork, critical thinking, and communication skills in college. 51% of them said, college did not prepare me for my job. That's like out of 100. So 51 people out of 100 said, I was not prepared for my job. So then you go to the universities and you say, they're not prepared. And then what's the university say? Who the university blame?
High schools.
High schools, exactly. They say, well, we couldn't train them because we had to catch them up with what they did in the high school. Then you go to high school, who do they blame? Middle school. Well, it's the middle school's fault. The middle school blame elementary, and then elementary blames preschool, and preschool blames parents. So it's everybody wants to pass the buck, and nobody wants to tackle the problem. So the main thing with communication, and I'm showing my wife this, and I said, how would you like to work with someone that never smiles, looks on the negative side, and has no sense of humor, and always in a bad mood? She said, I live with that person. I said, well, I'm sorry, I have a sense of humor. I said, so that's not me. But, or the other one, and when I asked my students this one, and they've all done this, there's a project you're not really interested in, you don't do anything, you do minimal work, you don't listen, you don't help out, but when time for take credit or it's actually good and you're on that team, you're front and center, look at what we did. So you have to have better communication. Questioning. When we communicate, there's two types of questions. I call the first one text questions. Yes or no questions. I've even gotten so lazy now, I don't type out yes, I just throw back a thumbs up emoji. And open, and this is what is different about today's generation. The ones that require description are the ones that require opinion. When I get a phone call and I get a text and I need one of those, I call the person back and talk to them. I was in the mall in Paducah the other day and I saw 4 former students sitting at that little table in front of Starbucks. And I watched them for about 5 or 10 minutes before I went over and bugged them. And they were all sitting there texting. I said, why are you even here? I said, why don't you just go home? I said, I watched you for about 10 minutes, you don't even talk to each other. They're like, we're talking to each other. They were sitting there with their little Starbucks texting each other. All kinds of questions, and they were talking about getting their prom dresses. And they didn't even have a conversation. It is. I mean, used to, when we were growing up, if you heard the call came from within the house, that was a horror story. Now if you hear the call came from within the house, that's because I'm too lazy to get up and go tell my son it's time for him to take a shower. I text him from the living room down to our man cave and say, get in the shower. So I'm as guilty as either. Tone of voice, something we have to be careful when we communicate as well. Because it could be misleading. It can offend. I got this one boy asked me how I like his outfit the other day. I said, we don't say outfit. I said, I like your clothes. So every morning I go, nice outfit. So I'm joking with him, but if somebody else heard it, they thought, you know, somebody could say, hey, that's a nice outfit, and that's a compliment. I go, nice outfit, and I'm offending him. So we have to be careful how we say something. It can also cause confusion. It can change totally the meaning of what we say. But the good thing about this is when you talk to somebody, you can tell. Are they genuine? Are they sarcastic? Are they interested? Are they patronizing? What are they saying here? When you text somebody, you may text me something being sincere and I take it as you being a smart aleck. I mean, that happens all the time. And that's another reason. You talk about it blows your mind. It's another reason that text can get us in trouble. Body language. I've got these things right here, and this is where, as my wife pointed out to me when I was showing her this, that I have a big failing. Because my body language does not, I mean, I may be interested in what you're saying, but I may be looking over here. Or I may be arms listening, and it looks like I don't care, but I do. So, research has shown 70% of messages are communicated through body language. Other body language can help a situation, it can fail to hinder a situation. Like some of these pictures here, I couldn't get this address, so I'll just show you. Like her saying, surprise, you got something. Okay, that fits that, right? But if I scroll down to this one right here, that guy says, I'm not really upset that I didn't get the promotion. I mean, does that look like he's happy the other guy got the promotion? No. So even though he's thinking that, his body language is saying something else. This is the one I have a problem with. I just want that person to get out of here. And she's showing the right body language. And this is the one I show to my middle school kids. It says that they're so in love and I'm just happy to be around you. That's 95% of the middle school couples right there you see. And then
Just flipping her off.
Point her at her. I'm not yelling at her.
That's the middle finger.
that is the middle finger.
That is the middle finger.
I'm not negative like you.
I'm
No,
glad-
it's
I'm
the
glad
finger.
you- glad you
I'm
understand.
observant. I have a soft skill that you don't have.
And then this right here, this little girl says, I can't wait to go to the birthday party. And I don't think she's real excited about that. So, I'm glad you pointed that out too. I probably won't show that to my kids. I can't believe that 48 graders saw that picture and none of them saw it. And we talked about nonverbals. Okay, I want to do this one activity real quick. It's called Listen Here. And it'll still work with only 2 of you. I did it with about 30 people at one time the other day, and it really got weird. So what I need you to do is take that sheet of paper and close your eyes. I'm going to give you instructions on what to do, and then we'll compare them. Okay, so the first thing is pick the paper up and fold it in half. Okay, then once you fold it in half, tear off the upper right-hand corner. Leave it folded and tear it off. Okay, now fold it in half again. And tear the upper left-hand corner. Now fold the paper one more time and tear off the upper right-hand corner. Okay, you open your eyes now. And since I did such a great job of giving instructions, both of these should look exactly alike when you open them up. So go ahead and open them up.
That looks like Batman.
It does look like that. Or an H. All right, so why don't they look alike?
When I folded mine, I had it like this and I folded it long ways, I'm sure.
Okay,
Did you fold it a different way? Right there.
one went hot dog, one went hamburger.
Example A.
So,
And maybe the degree of the rips.
right? Because even though I gave clear instructions,
Interpret it the way we want.
exactly. And that's what happens sometimes when you get in the infrastructure of a university, of a school. When you give instructions, you have to be clear to give the same instructions and give what you want. Well, every department will do the same thing. Because I guarantee you, if you sent out a blanket instruction on Murray State's campus and all the deans read it and they got to interpret it how they want, you would have how many other different departments? You'd have that many different products. So when you're working with students and working in student affairs, working with university, anything like that, if you want multiple people to do something exactly how you want it, you've got to give clear instructions. Those are clear instructions, but you can't leave it up to interpretation. So attitude. This is how we think. This is how we feel. This is how we go about showing something. All right, so tell you what, Dakota. You get to choose left or right.
Right.
All right, there you go.
I got a bouncy ball.
You got the bouncy ball, you get the egg. So, come over here real quick.
Don't you think about it.
Both of y'all come over here real quick. This is what the trash bag is for. So, throw the bouncy ball down on the trash bag. All right, now throw the egg down on it.
I'm moving.
Go ahead. Yeah, as hard as you want. All right, so that goes right with attitude. I count the bouncy ball as a positive attitude. I count the egg as a negative attitude. What happened with the bouncy ball when you threw it down?
Came right back to me.
It came right back, or it bounced back. It had adversity, it had a roadblock, it hit that roadblock, it bounced back. What happened to the egg when it hit the roadblock?
Fell apart.
Fell apart, it splattered. We can choose to do either one of those. We can choose to be the bouncing ball, or we can choose to be the egg.
He's the egg.
Well,
He's a good egg.
he is a good egg. See? That was very funny. Thank you.
I'm a pledge bouncy ball.
So, that's the main thing with attitude. And then attitude goes over to behavior. Behavior is basically what we say and what we do. Attitude is what we think, how we feel about it. Behavior is how we portray that. You can have negative thoughts. You cannot agree with something. Something I've learned from Dr. Burke and I've learned from Dr. Wilson. You don't have to agree with everything. And it's okay if you say, speak your mind when your organization say, hey, do it this way. If I'm a leader and I'm in charge of people, I want somebody in my organization to say, hey, what about this? Hey, what about, or have you thought this way? Because once you're in a leadership role, you can't look at things the same way. You can't go back to the rose-colored glasses. You have to say, when you come up with an idea, you have to think 15 steps ahead and what 15 things could go wrong and how do I stop it before it happens. So you need somebody that will help you. There's nothing wrong with asking questions or not agreeing. What gets wrong is when your behavior hinders the progress of that organization. Some different types of behavior. There's a big difference between being aggressive and assertive. If I say aggressive, what do you think of?
Dr. Burke. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, violent, hostile.
Okay. Exactly, violent, hostile. I will do whatever it takes to get what I want or to get the job done. When I say assertive, what do you think of?
Stern.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Stern.
Okay, stern, fair. I will lead you in the right direction, but we're still going to do this as a team effort. And then, of course, avoidance is we just, hopefully somebody else will do it. And passive, nothing worse than passive aggressive when you put those together. But passive is, I'll be part of it, but I'll let somebody take the lead, because I don't want to do that. Manners, as I said before, considering others, it's how we behave towards other people. It doesn't take anything to say yes ma'am, no ma'am, to be polite to people. That leaves a good impression. That's what I tell.
That's all you.
That's what I tell people, is when they leave a good impression, people remember you for the right reasons. You go to a job interview and you don't leave a good impression, they'll remember you. They probably won't be calling you, but they'll remember you. And you never know when we get to networking how that person's impression of you will lead to somewhere else. I got my first job because I went and had a good interview, but because I didn't have any experience, didn't get that job, but was referred to another principal who called me and didn't even interview me and asked if I wanted a job based on a recommendation of somebody else. So how you handle a situation, you never know when that's going to come through. Teamwork, problem solving, this is one of the most important soft skills, how you work with others. It really is a lost art because you watch kids, there's always the one that takes charge and does everything, there's always the one that goes back into the corner and just lets everybody do it, and then there's the couple that will do whatever the one person says, and then there's the other one that argues with everything. And then it's almost, when I do group activities, I'm refereeing more than I feel like I'm teaching. And I think technology has hindered this as well, because we talked about earlier, what do we do when we have a problem? What do we do when we don't know anything?
Google it.
We go to Google. So we'll do this exercise real quick,
You died in the plane crash.
and you two, you just work together to pick your items.
The day no one else is here to speak to that.
I'll let Dr.
Coach
Bird.
to read, that was gonna be.
Sure, I will read.
I'm trying to-
How do you Mid-January is cold time of year in North Canada. The first problem the survivors face is preservation of body heat, or not Evelyn, and the protection against its loss. This problem can be solved by building fire, minimizing movement and exertion, using as much insulation as possible, and constructing a shelter. The participants have crash landed. Many individuals tend to overlook the enormous shock reaction that has on the human body, and the deaths of the pilot and co-pilot increases the shock. Decision-making under such circumstances is extremely difficult. Such a situation requires a strong emphasis on the use of reasoning for making decisions and for reducing fear and panic. Shock would be known and survived by feelings of helplessness, loneliness, hopelessness, and fear. These feelings have brought about more fatalities than perhaps any other cause in survival situations. Certainly, the state of shock means movement of the survivors should be at minimum, and then at that, an attempt to be calm and then to be made. I'm having trouble reading. Before taking off, a pilot has to file a flight plan which contains vital information such as the course, speed, estimated time of arrival, type of aircraft, and number of passengers. The type of aircraft on there. Search and rescue operations begin shortly after the failure of the plane to appear at its destination and the estimated time of arrival. The 20 miles to the nearest town is a long walk under even ideal conditions, particularly if one is not used to walking such distances. In this situation, the walk is even more difficult due to shock, snow, dress, and water barriers. It would mean almost certain death from freezing and exhaustion at temperatures of -25 to -40. The loss of body heat through exertion is a very serious matter. Once the survivors have found ways to keep warm, the next task is to attract the attention of the search planes. Thus, all the items that the group has salvaged must be assessed for their value and saving the group's whereabouts.
Okay, so what the guy that created this does, he asks that you pick 5 of these items right here, okay? The next slide will show you their point value. Your goal is to pick the 5 that go together that give you the lowest point total, okay? And usually what you do, if you have a whole class, you let everybody do it, and whoever has the lowest point total wins in that class. But since there's only 2 of you, we'll just do it together, and y'all can talk about, and if we can talk about the point value in a second. I've got an explanation that he has for every one of them. So our job is to gather things out of these 12 items that we can use to create a signal. Take this slow. 1, 2, 3, 6. Yeah. So let's pick 5.
I'm thinking the whiskey, because they can not only keep warm, but it's flammable.
That was the first one.
Okay.
Whiskey.
If you drink enough of it, you can
Whiskey is you can.
stay warm and flammable.
Cigarette lighter is my expect to need something to light it.
Okay.
Because of someone knowing how to make fire,
Think to steel
especially in
wool.
snow.
All the steel wool.
I wouldn't go with steel wool.
Why not?
I would honestly go.
How would you go?
The next thing I would go with is the newspapers.
Why would you go? Newspapers burn quick. If they get
It's
wet,
not,
snow.
it's not to wear them, to burn them, it's for insulation to keep warm, keep them on the inside of your clothes. Newspaper is good for insulation, put it on the inside of clothes, just get warm longer.
What, a piece of canvas to get off the snow?
Do it,
A piece of canvas to sit off the snow?
that'd work.
So canvas, do you want to go with wool or
What would you use a wool for?
newspapers?
The ball of steel wool? That's literally like the thing you see people wash dishes with. It's,
There's a purpose for it, I can't remember what it is.
and you didn't think you can
What
try.
about Crisco? You can burn Crisco, don't you? It's like an oil.
I know, but that's what we have the whiskey for, so we should need 2 of those. Sectional air
I don't think the
mat
compass is-
made of plastic.
I don't think either of those are needed because you're not gonna be going anywhere.
Yeah. The compass and the sectional air made, not
But,
plastic, is not needed.
See, newspaper is 1 per person. Is that gonna be enough for insulation?
Probably not.
So would that be
I didn't
null
agree
and
with
void?
Yeah.
Of the chocolate bars, would that be enough just to have a little bit each day while you're trying to survive?
I think the next one would probably be family-sized chocolate bar and a small axe, in my opinion. Because you don't need extra paints. If you're out in the woods, clove is like, I don't think
It's
you're
not.
gonna do that. But the family-sized chocolate bar, because who knows how long someone's gonna come out and get you a small axe.
Use that steel wool for something.
Alright, so axe or steel wool?
So what would you use for?
Cut down lumber,
But that's exertion.
but you can use lumber to get more
How?
by burning with the whiskey.
But when that's not run out though. When you're gonna exert yourself, are you gonna be able to get enough down to keep yourself warm?
How long do we have? 20 miles. to
With
this
enough
town.
food? We're not going anywhere, it just talks about surviving and getting their signal out. So it's a steel wool, cause I'm gonna be, reflective. Good steel.
What do we got so far?
You got whiskey, lighter, canvas, chocolate bars. And one more.
Yeah, wouldn't you be able to use the steel to shine off the sun to make a signal?
To where?
In the sky?
It's not really reflective.
Not, steel's not reflective?
Not steel wool. I don't think you have what you have in mind, is what you're thinking. But I can Google it and show you what restraint it.
Yeah, they probably saw that movie. What about a gun? Noise,
I thought
protection?
gun for noise and protection as well myself, actually.
Let's do gun.
Yeah,
I
gun.
think it's the wool, the steel wool.
Alright,
You're
so-
welcome, you're fresh.
the object is to get the smallest total possible. Here's the point value for each of these. Whiskey is 10. What? I got explanation before we argue. You can read the explanation he got. Like I said, this is from Mark Wanovic, who's an instructor, survival trained for the recon school. So
Canvas is 5.
5, chocolate 7, and gun is 9.
Man, we use some points up.
So that's 11, 16, 23, 32.
Let's get the lowest one possible.
Yeah.
So
So the lowest-
lighter steel
The
wool.
lowest possible would be 10.
Close.
See, hey, you need steel wool for some reason.
I'm feeling this as a description. So
Here are the rankings.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Steel wool to make a fire. Boom.
Shut up.
Sparks. Sparks, sparks, sparks. You are a pledge.
So the lighter, of course, you got right off because you need, I mean, you don't have to worry about rubbing sticks together. You don't have to worry about anything else. The steel wool means catching sparks made by the cigarette lighter.
Shut up.
And you can do it even if it's wet, which you brought up about the newspaper.
Shut up.
The clothes, I didn't think much about the clothes. I picked the whiskey when I did this too, and when we read the explanation, you'll be amazed by it. I had no idea about some of it on there.
Which other had to read?
Crisco was the one that blew my mind. You can use it as a mirror-like signaling device from the lid. It's bright enough to be seen beyond the horizon. It said you could rub it on your arms and legs and stuff to retain the heat. If they had no other means of signaling, then the mirrored lid is still an 80% chance of being rescued the first day. The canvas is a good one, protect against the wind and the snow. Survivors, small axe, you know, it could be done to cut things down. The chocolate bars do provide energy, yes, carbohydrates. Newspapers are useful in starting a fire, insulation under clothing. The pistol, as you said, provides a sound signaling device. But then you go down to whiskey. The only uses of whiskey are as an aid in fire building and as fuel for a torch. The empty bottle can be used for storing water. The danger of whiskey is someone might drink it thinking it would bring warmth. Alcohol takes on the temperature it's exposed to, and a drink of minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit would freeze a person's esophagus and stomach.
yeah, man.
Alcohol also dilutes the blood vessels in the skin, resulting in chilled blood, meaning carried back to the heart, resulting in a rapid loss of body heat. Thus, a drunk person is more likely to get hypothermia than a sober person is.
I didn't know, not sure.
I had no idea. But, and then the compass, I thought was a good one because you could use it as a reflector, but then it says some idiot probably would think they could walk the 20 miles with the compass and they probably would freeze. And then the air map has no justification whatsoever. But even though it's a 32, you show skills of working it out, talking it out, picking things, and there was a legitimate reason for picking every one of them. And ones you disagreed on, you talked out. And that's becoming a lost art with our students today. I did this earlier, and with only 2 of you, it's kind of different. But if you had to pick one of those shapes, which one would you pick? Just off the top of your head. Because they say in every organization there are 5 people represent 5 different shapes.
Triangle.
I say circle.
Say circle.
Triangle.
I'm gonna go with squiggle.
Triangle up and-
You're gonna go with squiggle?
No, I'm gonna go with the circle. I just like the idea that the squiggle is the shape.
Well, I picked squiggle, so there we go. So we got circle, triangle, squiggle. What would you pick, Dr. Burke?
Boom!
I picked
Right off
squiggle.
the bat.
So, read those so we said triangle, a born leader who's competitive, confident, and can make decisions. You also like recognition, you're goal-oriented, enjoy planning, you will tend to look at big long-term issues but forget the details. When given a task, you set a goal and work on a plan. Is that,
See.
you think that? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too big on the recognition, but I can see where, I do want to call back from jobs. That's-
Well, and I think that gets confused where it says you want recognition. When you do something and you do a good job, we all appreciate the recognition.
Agreed.
You know, and sometimes you get to a point where you keep doing it, and if you're not recognized any, you know, it always feels good to get a pat on the back from somebody. Circle. Dakota, you're social and communicative. I can tell that in the 30 minutes I've known you. There are no hard edges. You can handle things by talking them about them, smoothing things out with everybody. Communication your first priority. Given a task, you'll want to talk about it. So does this pretty well describe you?
I mean, for the most part, but I think given a task, talk about it. I think for me is the difficulty that the underlying task is. If it's yes or no, just go do it. But if it needs a discussion, then I would like to talk about. So yeah, I'm half and half on that part.
Okay.
Shut up.
And then Dr. Burke and I are a squiggle. We're off the wall and creative. We like doing new and different things. Most of the time we get bored of regular activity. Given a task, we'll come up with a bright idea about how to do it. And we don't necessarily have to have a deliberate pattern, go from A to B to C. I can go from A to M to X. That pretty well describes me, and I think that pretty well describes Dr. Burke. So, moving on, the networking and relationships. We build relationships differently with people. You connect differently and talk to your family and friends, employers, colleagues, and classmates totally different, especially through social media and text and email. I'm going to show you a non-formal text here in a second, then I'm going to show you how a non-formal text was used in a formal setting. And because you have to be discreet, you have to be prepared, and when you're not and you send the wrong thing to the wrong person in this list, it could cause a total disruption. We flip that switch. We do not say goodbye to our friends.